Hello, my name is Justin, and today I want to talk about School Spirits, Season 3, Episode 7. This one is called Mid-Semester, and it is a spin on Midsummer, which I love. I love Midsummer, and I love that they tweaked it to fit with, the show. We start with Maddie and Xavier, who are bringing Casey's body to the hospital. They say they don't know what happened, as the doctors and nurses who are like trying to get Casey out. Also, side note, the like music that was happening while this was all going on, I'm like, oh, I feel like it being so upbeat was not fitting like what was going on, because like Maddie is going through it. Like, she is going through it. And Claire and Nicole arrive, and they're like, look, we just want to be a part of it, how they are. And I think it was it has to be either Maddie or Xavier, but I think it was Xavier who was like, no, you guys need to leave, because if Casey's body dies, which I already thought he died, but, whatever. It's, I can't think of the word right now, but it's one of those things where it's like, it's not true that Maddie said he was gone, but it was just in the way that like Van Height left Casey's body rather than Casey's body being dead. Oh yeah, so Claire and Nicole are like we just want to help, and Xavier's like, no, because if he dies, then me and Maddie are going to be questioned, and you two being here is just going to make things more messy and doesn't fit with the fact that we just like stumbled upon him. So Claire and Nicole go back to the parking garage because they don't leave. They're always on standby. And Xavier is asking Maddie, like, how the fuck did this happen? And the fact that they need to get their story straight. Maddie is like, look, I've already explained it to you. Van Height left in my vision through my front door. And I can't tell you where he is because I don't know. And Maddie's also just like, look, Casey's body is alive, okay? I don't know how long it's going to be alive. You need to go find him. Which is like kind of ironic, because when she had the chance to get her body back, she was doing everything but doing it. So I don't know who she thinks she is. Okay, I'm being rude. I'm being rude. Maddie is looking out for Kyle. She is a sweet person. She's a good character. I just think, I don't know. I'm just like, when it was your chance to get back into your body, you were like my friends, So you don't know if Kyle has friends that he wants to make sure are good before he goes. No. Okay. I'm just being annoying. So as this is happening, as Maddie tells Xavier to go look for Kyle, the ghost nurse is taking Casey and Maddie's dad to the church, or the hospital's version of the hellhole. We then go back up with Xavier, who is coming to question Casey, but Jennifer Tilly comes up and is like, hey, no. I think the person you need to be questioning is your son and Madison Nears. And oh my god, and then we go back to the school with Wally and Martin, who are talking about where Simon is. Martin thinks he was taken somewhere else, and Wally's like, I know how to get somewhere else. His door. And Martin was like, we don't know where that goes. I don't know if we should really do that. No one has come back from that. And that's kind of where we leave that until later. So Xavier's dad stumble across Maddie and Xavier and ask how they stumbled upon Casey. And Xavier was like, we just found him like that and just thought it was the best thing to bring him here. And at this time, Maddie gets a call and walks away, and Xavier's dad pulls him in and is like, look, that lady over there, he's pointing to Livia, and he's like, she emailed me a picture, and I think that it's timestamped to the day of your the day you were hit. And the picture is of Janet possessing Maddie's body at the end, towards the end of season 1. In the like rear view, not the rear view, but like in the mirror of a car. It's Maddie's reflection. And Kyle is like, not Kyle. Xavier's like, I already told you what was happening. I already told you I don't remember what happened. Okay, so if you're not gonna believe me, then whatever. And Xavier's dad is like, look, it's not that I don't believe you. It's just the fact that if this gets out, I don't know how much longer I can protect you. And he said something about Maddie. I'm not really sure. I can't really remember what he said about her, but I think it was just on the lines of like, that girl, like, all this mess seems to be surrounding her. So after that, Xavier is off looking for Kyle. Maddie is washing the blood off her flannel. And Mr. Anderson comes around. And Maddie's like, I really appreciate you doing this. And what he's doing is going to pick up Maddie's mom from recovery. And so he comes to get the keys and stuff, but before he leaves, Maddie's like, look, are you like having visions? Because he was the one that was possessed by Mr. Martin last season when he possessed Mr. Anderson to go out and look for Janet. But Mr. Anderson is like, no, I'm not having visions, but I definitely look at life a little differently. And I'm like, dog, I would too. Like, if I knew for certain what was on the other side of being alive, I feel like honestly it would make life a little less nerve-wracking, because like, I mean, you know that this isn't permanent. And I think what I'm trying to get at is that if I knew what was on the other side of this, I think it would bring some ease to the idea of dying. So Xavier keeps looking for Kyle, and the ghost nurse is taking, like I said, Kyle and Dave, Maddie's dad, down to the hospital's version of the hellhole. And we find out that the building that was there before the hospital was called the Foundry, and that Kyle, the nurse, and Maddie's dad, Dave, are looking for how Van Height got in, and got into her scar, or just to that version of the hellhole. And Kyle thinks he found something, so he goes to pick it up, and he stands back up, but he's like standing in front of like an inferno. The hands come out and grab him, kind of like, you know, the water in the school's version of the hellhole. So Kyle falls into an old lady's room in the hospital, and I'm not sure if it was his fault or like, or if like she just died at that same moment, but the old lady dies as Kyle stands up in her room. And it's so scary. Like, that lady was like so scared, and she was alone. Like, no family was with this lady. She's like terrified, like looking at her dead body as she's like a ghost. So scary. Like, that would be so terrifying. And like looking at your dead body and like not having any family around you, and then you see this fucker who just fell is like getting up and just walking out. But this is the time where Xander finds him and is like, look, your body's alive. And Kyle is like, oh shit, okay. Shit, I mean, of course I'm gonna be like excited about my body, but I think he's also like a little confused of like what just happened, and like who wouldn't be. Like, I don't think we're gonna get answers to what like the hands and why they take you places. Or I mean, I don't know, maybe we will. I just think that is like a little storyline that will lead us into season 4. We then meet up with Claire and Nicole in the hospital garage. They are talking about Jennifer Tilly, who thinks that Maddie shot Casey. And Maddie texts them to take her to the school. Claire is like, okay, you guys go do that, but I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna go back to Nicole's to figure out what her dad is getting from the school closure. So she calls Diego, and Maddie tells her to be safe because she can't take any more bad news. I don't know if it's Peyton List who plays Maddie, but I feel like some of her acting choices are really funny. I don't know if it's her or if it's because, like, the show, for some reason, like, when it's on a character or when a character is talking, especially when it's two characters talking to each other, it'll cut back and forth, like, at from like the point of view of one of the characters looking at the other. So when we're looking at the screen, we're like looking at Wally talking to us like we are Maddie, but so I just think that's a little goofy, just some of the ways that they film things. And then I think Peyton List's acting choices are also a little comical at times. And it cuts to her being told about Simon, who was like flushed down a hole the last episode. And Maddie's like, okay, well, I met Van Height, you know, and she tells the group, because she's at the school now. I'm so sorry if I'm like everywhere. So Maddie is at the school with all the ghosts, and she says that she met Van Height. She also talks about her vision and her door, and Martin is like, "What door, Maddie? Do you think like your scar could have followed you home?" Which is interesting. I didn't really think about that. I kind of just thought that like because of everything going on, she was kind of like leaving her body. Martin questions the door and wonders if Maddie is falling back into the ghost world and if her scar followed her home. Yuri questions how Van Height got out, and Martin figures out that he probably used Ralph's body. So that's pretty interesting because I didn't put the pieces together that where Martin and his friends were running as children was on the grounds of where the school is now and where the church used to be. So that's pretty crazy that Van Height used Martin's friend to leave and pretty much trapped him in that scar. So they're questioning where Van Height is now. And they talk about how Ralph and the pastor are stuck in a scar that does not belong to them. And Maddie asks who he will kill next. And I think he's gonna use Simon. Because I truly don't know if like Simon accidentally got stuck in the ghost world or if like someone was actively like pulled him in and kept him there. So we cut back to Claire, who is trying to stalk her stepdad online as Diego, Nicole's brother, comes in, as Claire finally logs into it. He wants her to take care of herself, and they talk about her staying at Nicole's. And she's like, I'm just very grateful for you guys. I really appreciate that you guys are doing this for me. And he is like, oh, I don't really want you to leave and stuff. And they're being cute, and then they kiss. And he's like, I'm going to help you. So really good. I'm really glad for Claire. She deserves someone. I think Diego is really funny, like Nicole. I think they're a lot like. I think those actors are really like, I think it would be cool to see those actors in another role playing siblings because I think they do a really good job at that like sibling banter. And I also think they kind of just look alike. So Wally is looking for Simon and his scar, and Xavier takes Kyle to his body. As they're in Casey's room, Dave, Maddie's dad, and the nurse arrive. Kyle is kind of taken aback by like the age on his body. Like, it's 20 years his body has lived, And Xavier's like, I'm not trying to like rush you. I get this is like a lot, but like I think we really need you to get in there really fast. And he's also like, I don't know how long your body's gonna be alive for, so I think like you should really get in there really fast. But like also like the cops think we shot you, so if like you can like wait like if you get into your body and like tell them that like we didn't, that would be groovy. And Kyle is still just a little taken that he's really not sure if he wants to go back into his body, which, unlike Maddie, is fair because this is 20 years later. That's almost like not even him anymore, you know? Like Van Height has took so much of his life, and like I don't know, it's kind of just this weird experience because it's like imagine someone. So okay, I already have a fear of like being body snatched and someone like living my life that's not me, like someone else is living my life through my body. But imagine getting that body back 20 years later. So, unlike Maddie at the end of season 2, I actually understand where Kyle is coming from. Xavier's like talking to Maddie's dad, Dave, and to the nurse, and is like, "Can you fucking help me? Like, I I need him to get back into his body." And you know, Dave gives a speech about like, you know, like it wasn't your fault that you died. You know, like you never really had a choice, but like this is your choice. You can go back to your body. Like you don't belong here. And the nurse tells him to go, and that's when he decides to get back into his body. Um, I just love that like Dave and the nurse are kind of like his parents at this point because you don't know what Van Height did. What if Van Height like totally fucked up his like relationship with like any of his family? So Diego calls Nicole and Claire tells her about getting into her dad's social media accounts like mail, all that shit. And we learned that he has been emailing Jennifer, who I guess we finally know her name is Deb. I think. I think. And so they're talking about how Claire's dad and Jennifer Tilly settled on a 250 million trillion. I don't know numbers, but she gets a finder's fee from that. And a finder's fee is when someone makes business between people or companies and stuff that likely wouldn't have happened without that person bringing them together. We then go back to Maddie at the school, and she's talking to Wally. Wally questions if she really is slipping back to the ghost world, and she's like, I want to go through my door. I want to go through that door, because what if Simon's on the other side? And Wally's like, no, you're still alive. Like no one has ever been on the other side of that door, and you're still alive. Like you can literally like your body could like disappear, and like you don't even know where you would go. And uh Wally was going to tell her that he was going to go through he was thinking about going through his door to see if Simon was on the other side. But she gets a text from Xavier who tells her about Kyle, and she's like, "Oh, got a blast." And Wally is like, "Just please don't do anything stupid, okay? Like, please." And Maddie's like, as she's walking out, she's like, "Wait, Wally, like, what were you gonna say to me?" And he's like, "It's nothing." He doesn't tell her that he was thinking about taking his door, but he does tell her that he loves her, and she says she loves him too. Everyone in this episode is getting love, okay? It's great to see. So this conversation between Wally and Rhonda, I really loved. I think those actors work really well together emotionally and just acting. But I also think like those characters, like I think like because Rhonda and Wally, or I think Rhonda died first and then Wally, right? So they were kind of just each other's buds for like the longest time before Charlie eventually arrived. And Wally asks her if she would go through her door if she got the chance. And she says, "Hell yeah, I would." Like like I wouldn't even think about it for a second. And Wally is like, "You would leave like all of us and even Quinn?" And Rhonda's like, I I think I would, because I don't think we belong here. Because if we did belong here, then we wouldn't get any doors, you know? And Wally's like, just questioning where it leads. And Rhonda's like, not here. Like, fuck, you know? Janet and Dawn are lucky to not be here. And Wally's like, you know, I don't ever think I actually wanted to go through my door. I don't think I ever want things to change. You know, like when I was alive, I always thought that like leaving high school would be really horrible. I never wanted to leave high school. I actually really like the energy and the vibe of being here. Rhonda is like, I get that, but you know, I think everything's just like a leap of faith. Like I didn't even think there would be an afterlife when I was alive. So what the hell do I know about what's past this? It's, you know, just all about taking that chance. But she then says that she would really miss him if he did leave. So back at the hospital, Maddie and Xavier are taken by Xavier's dad to talk to Casey Kyle. And Jennifer barges in. She's like, it's my right. And so Kyle, who is finally back in his body, this is actually Kyle, okay? He thanks Maddie and Xavier for saving his life. And Jennifer is like, what are you saying? Like, she doesn't understand why Casey isn't immediately throwing them under the bus. And he's like, no, if anything, like, they saved me. And she storms out like, this is unbelievable. I love Jennifer Tilly. I especially in this episode, like, so funny. So we then are back at the school with Martin, and he is in the hellhole, the church, looking for Ralph. He says he is really sorry, and Ralph appears. Martin tells him he understands what happened to him, and as this is happening, Ralph is like running around like a scared dog. I don't really understand like why he was doing that, but Martin is like, do you know where Simon is? And he says yes. Then he points to a staircase that leads to like another hole looking down. Maddie is slapping her rubber band on her wrist, sitting in the waiting room with Xavier. And Xavier is like just happy as can be. Like I would be too. Like, he got his friend back in his body. You know, they're not gonna go to jail. And Maddie's dad, Dave, is there, and he asks Xavier to hold Maddie's hand. She says that she is just upset and lost, and Maddie's dad tells Xavier to tell her that they've been through this before. And we see a memory of when Maddie was a kid. It was on Halloween, and she was very upset coming home with her dad. And we find out that she lost him while trick-or-treating, and she was like, really upset about it. But he found her and brought her home, and he tells her it doesn't matter, like, if she gets lost, like, he will always find her. And he gives her the titular necklace. And then we find out that the necklace was actually not from him, even though he gave it to her. It was actually from her mom. And this is another example of like some of Peyton List's acting choices that I think are kind of just funny, because she goes, my mom? And then they leave. We then go back to Kyle, and he's taking off Van Height's ring. He's like, the fuck is this? Get this off me. And Jennifer Tilly comes in, and she's like, I'm so happy you're okay. And, you know, she's like, I'm so happy you're, you know, everything's okay, but, you know, I need the money. I need to get the ball rolling. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And she starts to like lose her shit. She's like, I do not have time for this. Like, stop playing your games. Like, I need the money now. And she's like, I will mow that damn school all by my damn self if I have to. Because she's like, no one. I'm not taking the fall for this. And so she blows up, and then you know, kind of pats down herself and like calms down a little bit. And she goes back out to the waiting room where Livia hands her bag and is embarrassed by the way her mom acted and walks away. And Jennifer Tilly, I love Jennifer Tilly. Like, she's like, Livy? And then she like looks around and then just like walks away. I love Jennifer Tilly. I think she's so funny. So all the ghosts are in the hellhole now. So Ralph pointed Martin down another thing of stairs. When he went down the stairs, there was a hole in the ground. He tried to open the door, but the door wouldn't open, so he goes to grab the rest of the ghosts. Rhonda, Charlie, Quinn, Wally. I think Wally is able to open the door, so they are able to take the stairs through that door down to the other level. And Rhonda looks up and she can see the hole, you know, so going up. And there's 8 glass windows, and they find out that this is where the kids passed on from. And they also realize that White Eyes got the kids out of the scar. He got them to pass on. And I think Quinn questions like if Simon could be wherever they are now. Wally looks at Martin, and Martin kind of gives him like an approval look. And so Wally's like, all right, well, there's just something I gotta go take care of. I love you all, and I will be right back. So he leaves his friends to go through his door. So a little bit later, the ghosts meet up again because they saw all the lights flickering, and they're like, shit, someone fucking left. Who was it? And so they all meet up, and Martin tells them about Wally. And Charlie is upset. He's like, I don't understand. He said he would come see us before he left, and like I don't understand why he decided to do this. And Martin was like, he wasn't planning on taking his door, but the promise of maybe being able to find Simon eventually, or was the thing that kind of made him want to go through his door. And Rhonda kind of clocks that that's what that whole conversation was about. And Maddie arrives. Oh my God. Poor Maddie. Poor Maddie. She's, oh my God. Okay, so at home, Mr. Anderson brings Maddie's mom, and Maddie is crying. She's telling her mom, you know, it wasn't her who came home a couple weeks ago, and that it was Janet, and, you know, she can't keep lying to her mom. She can't keep living in 2 worlds. And her mom is like really confused. She's like, Maddie, I don't understand what you're saying. And Maddie's like, I died. And Mr. Anderson is like, it's true. And Maddie's mom is like, what the fuck? Like, what the hell is going on? Maddie was like, you had to know that that wasn't me. And, you know, so her mom is like, no, I just thought like you were traumatized. But Maddie tells her like, no, it really wasn't me. And then she tells her about Rhonda and Yuri and Quinn. And she also tells her about Charlie, who died when Maddie's mom was a senior at the same high school. And her mom is like, how do you know about Charlie? And Maddie's like, because he's my friend. And Maddie says she can never see Wally again. And she's just like I'm like getting like kind of emotional. Like she's like really having a hard time with it. But okay, oh my God, okay. This is it. So she tells her mom about, you know, the necklace, and her mom is like, how did you figure that out? And Maddie's like, because I talked to Dad, you know, why didn't you ever tell me that you got me this necklace? Like, the one thing that like brought me happiness, why'd you let me believe that it was him? And her mom was like, because it made you happy. Okay, I need the show to stop. Stop with like, I can't handle seeing good parents on TV. It makes me really emotional. Okay, anyway, so Maddie's mom gives her a hug and she tells her she believes her. Nicole, Xavier, and Claire go to the principal, and they were like, we need your help to close down the school. I guess we have information. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier just because I wasn't really like sure what Jennifer Tilly and Claire's dad were doing. I didn't really understand how that was illegal, but I guess somehow it is, and they're trying to have the principal kind of like back them up with that. We then go to the nurse who sees that her door is open again. Holy shit. But this is where I'm so excited. So Maddie is sitting in her room. She's looking at her necklace, and then she goes into a vision where she sees her door again. But the door opens and she's able to go through it, and she does. And the last few seconds of the episode is Maddie walking out into like what seems like an enchanted forest. And then the screen goes black and we hear the door close. So that's the end of the episode. But what are we thinking? I am really excited. I really hope to see Janet back. I love Janet so much. I really hope like Janet, Dawn, I hope they both come back, and I hope it's like this battle against Van Height. I don't even know. It's so cool though that like there is actually something on the other side of that door. So I know for sure that Maddie's gonna see Wally again. I just wonder if Wally is gonna be stuck, and it's gonna be like the whole thing next season is trying to get Wally out of there, or it could be like the good place, and we find out that like the good heaven, end all be all, is actually very flawed and needs work on itself, or needs work in itself. I don't know. I'm so excited. I really hope we see Janet again. I'm really interested to see like how they're gonna explain this, like what this means, like if this is like the penultimate, like this is where you go after everything, like after being a spirit, after being alive, like this is where you go. But I'm wondering like how, like how and where and what. I don't know. I'm so excited. I'm really excited for episode 8, the final episode of season 3. What are we gonna do? What are we gonna do without school spirits? I don't have any other show to look forward to besides Yellow Jackets, but that doesn't come out until maybe the end of this year or into the next year. But speaking of Yellow Jackets, I think after this, I want to start a rewatch on Yellow Jackets and kind of do what I've been doing for School Spirits, but in a rewatch format for Yellow Jackets, because I love that show and I'm so excited for season 4. And I have not a ton, but I have some thoughts of like what could happen and some theories. But as for School Spirits, I'm so excited for episode 8. I think Maddie's gonna be fine. I think it is interesting that that we could hear the door close. So I don't know if she's gonna be trapped or what. I'm really like, Simon was not in this episode at all. So like really hoping that he's somewhat in the final so we like know what's going on with him. I don't know if we're gonna get Simon back into the real world this season. I could see them kind of doing like a Maddie thing where it's like there's something going on in the real world. I don't know. I truly don't know. Like this show is like really like one of the only shows where I'm like, I don't know where they can go, because like they're like, if you told me in season 1 that we would be figuring out what is on the other side of those doors, I wouldn't believe you. So it's like, or not that I want to believe you, I just want to like understand. And so I'm like, I truly do not know what they're doing or where they're gonna go, but I am really excited to see it, and I'm really excited to see episode 8. So yeah, if anyone's listening to this, let me know what you thought of School Spirits episode 7. And yeah, all right.